Rand Paul just recently launched his presidential campaign bid, and already things are starting to go downhill. There's been some really interesting things that has happened to Rand Paul when it comes to his campaign. You see, apparently he's had some issues with copyright already. Now, Rand Paul put up his video onto his YouTube channel showing his announcement that was quickly pulled due to copyright. And for this, I go over to Addicting Info, and they're going to basically detail the hilarious fail. Now, they say, quote, his nascent campaign is failing on every corner of cyberspace. As with Ted Cruz, Rand Paul launched a presidential announcement video to coincide with his big speech. Unfortunately, for potential voters curious to see it, the video has been blocked by YouTube for copyright infringement. The video, well, okay, so why was Rand Paul's video pulled by YouTube over a copyright infringement? Well, apparently it's because he was using the John Rich song, Shutting Down Detroit. Now, Shutting Down Detroit is a country song, pretty famous during the bailouts, basically detailing the lives of normal blue-collar Americans that are pissed off about the bank bailouts. Hell, it's a good song. I joined them. I agree with the context of the song. I don't think it quite fits with Rand Paul, even though he has his supposed support of, well, I don't like bailouts. I don't like anybody getting bailed out. I don't like the banks getting bailed out. Hey, I agree with them. I agree with them there. But I don't want Detroit to get bailed out too, which ironically saved a lot of jobs. Now, you can be against the bailouts, and that's fine. It's a contentious issue. I'm not even sure if the way we did it was right, giving money to struggling corporations. But it did save a lot of jobs, and that's undeniable. Now, Rand Paul used that song, Shutting Down Detroit, without permission. And, of course, it got pulled. So, not only that, but Rand Paul also used a clip of Chris Christopherson. Okay, so what about Chris Christopherson? Well, Chris Christopherson is a well-known folk singer and an actor. Once again, Rand Paul, his campaign staff, decided to use it without permission. You know, in the libertarian paradise, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So, I guess that's consistent with his values. However, Chris Christopherson, not so happy because this clip used by him was used without his permission, and he's not exactly an ascriber of Rand Paul's individualistic or Ayn Randian values. In fact, Christopherson is an outspoken liberal and supported President Obama in both elections. Oops. Now, his fails continue to get worse, and we go over to Twitter. You see, people were supporting, were basically trying to show their support by saying, I stand with Rand. So, Twitter troll decided to do something kind of funny and tweet a picture of a supporter, I should say, that was holding a I stand with Rand sign. This happened to be a Photoshop of James Holmes holding that sign. Twitter fail. There's another amazing fail from Rand Paul's website. And you'll like this. You see, I guess in the lead up to the launch of this campaign website, they kind of rushed things. Didn't go over everything the way that they should. And they ended up having a kind of hilarious typo considering Rand Paul's positions on education. For example, Rand Paul wants to get rid of the Department of Education. He wants to cut education funding because he thinks that's big government. Ironic example of this is on his website, the education tab takes you to a video of Rand Paul stressing how important it is to have access to education. Ironic, because of his, of course, known positions on funding education. And this video is titled, quote, Rand Paul opposes a one-size-fits-all approach to education. Oops. Now, okay, it seems like I might be nitpicking a little bit, but I just find it hilarious and ironic. So what about support for Rand Paul? Well, they tout their support from regular people like you, also regular people that go by the name of Taco Boner Fart. Or, I'm sorry, Taco Boner Stink. I can hardly say that with a straight face. But yes, a recent donator to the Rand Paul campaign was proudly displayed as Taco Boner Stink. Hats off to you, Taco. You're a true American patriot. But it's not the only thing that's wrong with the Rand Paul website. See, there is a lot of different merchandise. See, you know, politicians like to sell merchandise. Okay, merchandising is an important part of putting together a campaign. You know, you got your mugs, you got your stickers. Well, there's some interesting stuff here on the Rand Paul website, which is the Rand Paul NSA spy cam blocker that retails for about 15 bucks. Now, it's a cheap piece of plastic used to cover your webcam. Now, I think a piece of duct tape would probably work just as well, but I guess if you want to do it in style, you can spend 15 bucks to support Rand Paul and stop the NSA minders from spying on you. Awesome. So what about those people who are avid music junkies? You know, people who like big headphones, for example, Beats by Dre. Well, for 20 bucks, you can buy a Beats by Dre Rand Paul Beats headphone skin. Yeah, slap that on your Beats by Dre, and you'll have Beats by Rand. Fascinating. Another thing that's rather strange is a giant Rand Paul birthday card that retails for about 35 bucks. Nothing says happy birthday than Rand Paul's giant face. And there's another interesting thing on the Rand Paul website that you can buy. It is a Dr. Rand Paul eye chart. You know, since of course Rand Paul is an eye doctor, makes a lot of sense. That goes for a, wait for it, price of $20.16. Very clever, Rand. Very clever. So the website's a little strange. The store's a little strange, and there's some obvious campaign fails already going on in the Rand Paul camp. So, you know, you would think that Rand Paul, because of all this stuff, well, he was in a hurry. He had to quickly declare, which means that maybe he was taking some time to make up his mind. Not exactly true. According to Politico, Rand Paul's team has been secretly assembling this website and all of this media stuff, the social media stuff, for about the last 4 years. A former aide to Rand Paul told Politico, quote, within the first year of the Senate term, he really started to focus on this. In fact, the only reason that he didn't run, the article continues, is that Ron Paul was seeking the, of course, nomination during 2012, and he didn't want to compete with his dad. Makes sense. It makes sense. So here you are. Obvious, hilarious Twitter, website, and other social media fails on the part of Rand Paul. And, well, not exactly his fault. It's his team. It just makes you wonder how good of a team he can put together for his other presidential stuff